Ava and the Prince, the adventures of two rescue pups. Long before I was free to be me, I was a lonely boxer named Foxy. And this is a true story, okay? I didn't look like a fox. I didn't feel like one either. I wanted a home that would be a real keeper. And her real name was Foxy. I had a place and a bed and somewhere to lay my head, but I belonged to a family who could not see all of the things that were great inside of me. And you see, and she says, why don't they love me? Okay. I like to play, they didn't like to play. I like to jump, they didn't like to jump. I like to wiggle, they didn't like my jiggle. I like to lick, they thought I was sick. So as you see, Ava, in her mind, she is super dog, right? One day they sent me far away to find a new home where I could run and play. But I was scared and I didn't want to go. And I wanted to be somewhere where I could live and grow. She looks kind of sad there, doesn't she? Yeah. At the shelter where I stayed were dogs like me hoping to play. They wanted a home and a place to grow, somewhere they could plan for a better tomorrow. So you have all the little doggies at the shelter. I'm cute, pick me, hello. And there's Ava. Don't you just love that face? Look at that face. A pretty lady with pretty shoes saw me there and noticed I was blue. Her smile was like sunshine over a hilltop. She even smelled like lemons and gumdrops. She liked my brown eyes that spoke without talk. She liked my fur and the way I walked. She looked at me. I looked at her. She rubbed my head and played with my fur. You don't look like a fox, she said. You need a new name that you will never dread. You look like an Ava, so glamorous and fun. A dog that brings happiness to everyone. You see, she's in her chair and it says, Miss Glamorous and Fun. Although she doesn't look like fun, but that's just how boxers look. They just have a resting, you know. She took me home and gave me a bed and a silver bowl from which I was fed. She gave me treats. She gave me toys. She said I could make lots of noise. Now, at my new home, with my new name, I played lots of indoor and outdoor games. I wiggled and jiggled and licked and licked. My new mom said I was the perfect fit. Uh-oh, here we go. One day, my mom was busy on the phone, so I decided to play on my own. She liked shoes. It was plain to see she had pretty ones and pretty hues right in front of me. Where do you think it's going here? Yeah. That was one of my favorite pair. I liked her shoes too. They smelled like melons, so sweet. Like one of those ooey, gooey, chewy dog treats. I pulled on them and twisted them to and fro. I gnawed on the heels and chomped on the toes. Yeah. When my mom discovered what I did, she started to yell and I ran and hid. You must learn the rules of the house right now. You can't play with my things unless I allow. Yeah, Ava's in the doghouse. You need a brother so you can run and play and make loud noises all of the day. A brother, I asked? But I like shoes and toys. I don't want a brother to steal my joy. A brother? Uh-oh. Her mind was made up, she said with a smile. She wanted another pup who had lots of style. It didn't take long to find one who looked like me. He had golden fur and brown eyes to see. He's really cutie. He had been wandering around without a home. He was small and frail and so alone. His name was, what was his name? Sam, or like ham or jam. But he didn't look like a Sam. But he was sweet like jam. Mom thought about his name for hours and days, and then she blurted, his name will be Prince, I say. It says the one and only. Only people who know what, reference to Prince, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Prince and I spent time playing a lot. We wiggled and jiggled and licked nonstop. We went to the park. We played with our toys. We dressed up in costume and made lots of noise. At night, we cuddled in bed and snuggled on pillows that cradled our heads. Oh, yeah. A face only a mama can love. Mom said we were special, a family of 3. We created a home for us to be free. Mom looked at me, I looked at her. She rubbed my head and played with my fur. She said a forever home is where we all want to be, where love grows and grows for eternity. Thank you. That's it. And it says not the end, because ideally I was planning on a part 2, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. That was a lot of work. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, I would like a volunteer from the audience in the back row, because I know these kids right here. Can I have one of you? Hi, how are you? Do you have a dog? You do? What kind of dog do you have? Huh? You have poodles? Okay, can you show me how you pet your dog? Okay, all right. So if the dog, let me see. We're gonna turn it this way. So how would you, if this dog, you didn't know this dog, what would you do first? Okay, well that's a start. But a lot of times when we don't know dogs, we don't know what they're gonna do. So I always tell children, what we do is have the dog sniff you first. Okay, just put your hand out like that. And if they like you, they'll sniff you. They might even lick your hand. And then if they do that, then you can pet the side of their face, right there, their chest right here. A lot of times dogs don't like them putting their hand over top of their head because they can't see where it's going, So, and this might kind of scare them. So if you have them sniff you, and then you rub their face, or rub their chest, and then they fall over and then rub the belly. So how many dogs do you have? 2. 2? What's the best thing about having a dog?
They play.
Huh? The play? Do you like to play with them? What are their names? Bentley and?
Mercedes.
Oh. Bentley and Mercedes. Oh, okay. So we have some privileged dogs. Thank you so much. This is great. Thank you. All right. Sure.
If you didn't have boxers, what would be your second choice favorite dog?
Okay, so when I was so I had Cocker Spaniels before, and they shed so much that I had hair in my house 10 years long after they were gone. So I wanted bigger dogs, and I was looking at Weimaraners, I was looking at standard poodles, and boxers. I picked boxers because I read that they were considered the clowns of the canines. They're like, have you ever seen pandas in the wild and pandas play? They're really goofy. Boxers are that equivalent. And they get along really well with children, and I knew I wanted to expand my family. And so yeah, that's why. So, and then I just love their little faces. They just have and another reason is that when I'm walking a boxer, people think that they're really mean. So it kind of gives me street cred. Like when I'm walking, like I won't have anybody bothering me. So yes.
Were you able to find them through the same shelter?
No. So I spent months, probably 6 months, trying to find a boxer. But I was determined to find a rescue, and I had I looked in all of the shelters in Houston, and I went to San Antonio, and went with a girlfriend. We went to all the shelters there. That weekend, I came back and I had an interview for work at Neiman Marcus, interviewing a designer. And when I walked out of the back of Neiman Marcus, it was during the holidays, there was a SPCA volunteer walking Ava. There was no one there, and she was just walking right in front of me, and it was like, there's the dog. There's the dog that's been on my screensaver for 5 years. And I went right around, walked with her, and adopted Ava. I asked them to hold her for me until I could get off of work. and went and picked her up. So that's how I got Ava. Prince, I started taking Ava to dog parks, which I don't do anymore. I don't recommend dog parks from my experience. But she had so much energy, as you can see in the book. She had so much energy. And every boxer owner that I ran into had two. Everybody had two. They're like, you can't just have one boxer. You gotta have two. And I was like, how do I do two dogs? And then I started looking, and I found on Lone Star Boxer Rescue, Prince, and he looked just like Ava. And I went and we had to do site visits and warm up and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up adopting two within 6 months. So yeah, that's how it happened. You know. Yes?
So I would love for you to tell everybody and for the video today
Sure.
a little bit more about Year of Joy.
Oh, okay.
Because I think so many kids could definitely participate.
Sure.
You know, this Christmas again.
Oh, of course. So this book is done under my, I have a nonprofit called Year of Joy, and it was actually just my effort to live a more joyful life. You know, some years ago, you know, we all get burnt out sometimes and tired and drained, and I just made a point that I was like, I need to bring back joy into my life. Part of that was adopting these two. And then another part is I was a figure skater. I was a former figure skater and coach. And I always wanted to bring the experience of skating to children who may never have that experience. And we started 9 years ago with a holiday ice skating party. This year will be the 9th year. We've had over 1,500 kids over the period of time. This past year we had 250 kids on the ice during the holidays. And it's a wonderful experience. They get to see Santa and dancers on stage, ballerinas. We have skaters of color who are competitive, who come and perform. Every child gets a goodie bag from Santa. It's a wonderful experience. So that's part of Year of Joy. And so is this. Anything else? All right. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about your writing process for how you got started in writing the book and what, because I know it's not easy. I mean, the finished book looks easy, but it's not an easy process.
All right, so I will have to say the writing, it wasn't the writing part. The whole process of this children's book was the most stressful and most satisfying thing I've done. I didn't realize writing a children's book was going to be that hard. I actually wrote the book in 15 minutes. Like I was just sitting, because it's their story. I hadn't planned on writing a children's book, and I just wrote it down in a journal, and I thought, oh, that's a nice idea, you know, if ever I could do something. I'm not an illustrator. I didn't know how to make that happen. And then I started talking to Melissa and her publishing company, and she gave me the inspiration of like, okay, yes, this is a good idea. And we used photos off my iPhone. Okay. So, and the person who designed the book is Susan Barber, and she is the creative director for the Houston Chronicle. So once we talked to Melissa, we had about a month to get the book done because we wanted to time it with coming out with a National Rescue Dog Month, which is in October and just before Christmas. So we had to hustle, and there were times where I was calling Susan, and I was texting her pictures. I had set up a bootleg studio in my house with sheets, and the lemon one was the hardest thing ever. And the dogs wouldn't stay where they were supposed to stay. And I'm texting Susan, and she's like, "No, we need the lemon this way." It was just, it was challenging, but we got it done. So yeah, and it turned out beautiful. It turned out even better than I thought it would turn out.
I remember, I'm like, wait, how long do we have?
Yes. That's like literally, I had a month to get it done and sent to the printer. And then when we got the first books back, it was just, I never thought that would mean a whole lot so much to me, but it was just like, oh my God, I have a children's book. And then the best part was going to schools. I had never participated much in story times in schools and going into schools and hearing children talk about their books and, talk about their dogs and sharing their dog experiences. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been great.
Well, can we all give Ms.